when you're in a conversation with someone, you can't literally rely on a script, because like the conversation that he was having with that person when I was watching his video is not the conversation that I'm on. So you can take parts of different people's scripts and, you know, make it your own, but make it like bullet points. Don't make it, you know, these paragraphs. And I literally had 4. I mean, I would love to show you, because it's absolutely, it's his entire conversation. I just typed it out.
Well, thanks for joining us this week on the Elite Sales Podcast. I'm actually joined in person by Jared Payne, joining us from North Carolina.
That's right. Happy to be here.
All right. We just came off of the LA Sales Conference, and it was a great event. Did you enjoy the event?
Absolutely, yeah.
So Jared killed it up there with the training. We actually had a lot of great trainers. We had a chance to hear from Sean Mike, Andrew Taylor, Paul McLean, Trey Honeycutt, Integrity Partners, Stephen Yee, Bruce Will, Rob Kakish, bunch of other top managers and top producers, and it was just a really great event. And during the whole process, you kind of get a chance to see how big the opportunity is.
Sure.
Right. And this is your first time visiting Los Angeles?
Yep, first time in California. Well, I went to San Francisco when I was a kid, but yes, first time as an
not the
adult,
same as LA,
experiencing it a little bit differently. So, yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, we get a chance to experience the entire country, and there's people from all across the way, with this opportunity. And, with this opportunity, also along with the bigger opportunity that we have here, also comes, our ability to be able to make money in different ways. Mm-hmm. So obviously we have the face-to-face sales. You can purchase your leads. You can go out and like see people face-to-face. We've also introduced the virtual and telesales platform. And then now at this point, I mean, the reason why I have Jared in studio today is actually because he's been doing an amazing job. And just, we have our live dials that anyone can hop onto. Mm-hmm. You can get on there and watch people, take their calls, do their calls, meet with clients, and then run through their typical appointments, and you can watch the entire process. So there's like, everything's entirely transparent. And we always nickname Jared as being silky smooth. Silky smooth. You like the nickname?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But he actually goes through and he actually runs through his appointments, and like he's actually at one of the smoother processes that we've seen so far, which is a big compliment.
Yeah, thank you.
Because what part of North Carolina are you from?
So we live in between Greensboro and Winston-Salem in a little farm town called Walberg, North Carolina.
A little smaller than Los Angeles?
Oh, just a little bit. Yeah.
Just a touch. Yeah. But the thing is, like, we actually hired him off of social media.
Yep, TikTok.
Off of TikTok. Yoel actually set the whole thing up. And then he saw a couple of ads. And this is the way that we're able to connect with one another, through technology. Mm-hmm. But, during the process, as we've continued to work with guys like Jared, we've been able to like find more and more people that are able to fulfill the things that we need here at Family First Life. People send in requests, they fill in requests, and then they're looking for insurance, or they're interested, or, they want more information, or whatever it may be. But the thing is, we don't have enough reps that can take care of all that. So we're always looking for people that genuinely want to help people out, that want to make sure that they're willing to invest into their business, talk to as many people as they can, and be a problem solver. And Jared's proven to be one so far up to this point. So, so let's walk through your you do live transfers, right?
Yeah. So still very new to the game.
Yeah.
I started out in the field, had like just okay success. Nothing. 10, 15 families, something like that.
Yeah.
Would be great. But I guess after really February, I was just between a rock and a hard place, and I just said that something's really got to change with my process, because it's just not working. And so I mean, I had to get real with myself, and my dad was in insurance. He kind of gave me a good pep talk, and I'm a big sports guy, so he was just saying, at halftime, if you have to go in and make an adjustment to go out and win the game, you need to go make an adjustment at halftime. So at the end of February was my halftime, and so I said that I knew I could speak to people on the phone, because my last job, it wasn't insurance related, but I was brokering freight for like the logistics operations. So I could speak over the phone and handle business over the phone. So I said, well, let me at least try this because I've got 3 kids and I want to be there for them.
How was the pay on that, by the way?
On the freight brokering job? No, it was
not great.
Yeah. So no. So I was in there for almost about 7 years. And it was a great company. And obviously with COVID, it was, I was working from home. My wife was able to go back to work. So I was doing more of like the to and from school kind of stuff, which is important to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like when I started part-time in September, like I think my first day I made more than I did in a month. Right. And, in a job like that, you have to worry about how long you're away from your computer or what color your Skype bubble is. If it's yellow, you've been, idle too long. It's just, pointless worries that you constantly fill yourself with. And so like when I did this, even part-time, it was just financially, obviously totally different, but just saying like, man, like what if every day I could wake up and like, this is what I did.
Well, wasn't a big part of it that at your previous opportunity,
mm-hmm.
it wasn't your company, so you didn't control things.
No, just an employer, and I would get to do like, maybe a fun thing or two. They might send me to a game or something like that, which was great, and I appreciate that, of course. But I'm just saying, like, the freedom that you have when you're just working for yourself, like that's what life's all about, is the time that you get and what you do with your time, and that's what this company. That's what they offer. Yeah.
Well, let's go back to that. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, talking about when you have your own company, which you do, which we all do.
Mm-hmm.
When you have your own company, the thing is, you also take all the responsibility for everything that does and doesn't happen for what happens. So you mentioned you hit a point in February or March.
Mm-hmm.
You thought about we went to convention. We met at a convention in person for the first time. Mm-hmm. So actually, before let's back up even more.
Sure.
What made you get into the insurance industry anyway? Because no one wakes up and says like, I want to
sell life insurance. Right.
Nobody says that.
No, I think it was just, like I said, I found it via TikTok, and I saw all these posts, and now from like a lot of people I've like met and like shook hands with, right, which is really cool. But like, they were posting at the time about how much money that they were making in the work that they were doing, and I was just like, I was always, I say always, for over a year, I would say, looking for a different opportunity. I would submit resumes to companies, and it just never really got me anywhere. And like I knew
different insurance companies.
No, not even insurance, just like freight brokering, because like that's kind of like all I knew, I guess, because I'm very strange. I have an art degree.
Do you?
Yeah, I have an art degree, and then I went into trucking, freight brokering, and now I'm selling life insurance. So like, you don't have to have a background in this. You don't have to have sales experience.
No.
Literally anyone can do it. And so I was seeing these posts, and of course I did my research, and I didn't just like immediately after the first one I saw like shoot a message. Like I watched it over and over, and actually shot a message to I guess a different team. Mm-hmm. And I was really wanting to get started. Right. And so when they didn't respond to me in like a day, I was like, I saw another video, and I'm like, hey, I'm really interested in joining. And of course it was you guys. So that's how we even, linked up in the first place. But yeah.
Which, by the way, just as a general business tip, if you have opportunity, like you got to jump on it right away.
Yeah. I was just eager. Like I was really looking for a change.
Right.
So
going back to the whole process, you found us, you came aboard, and then you hit a point. You had a little bit of success at the beginning, because I remember right when you came out the gate, you made some sales. Yeah. What was the thing that made you reconsider if this was for you back in February or March?
Well, to be completely honest with you, it's not recommended to take an extended period of time off.
Why'd you take
from this business? Because of chargebacks.
Okay.
And in December, I had like for me, in my family, in our situation, I had a really good start to the month.
Right.
And I was like, wow, like Christmas is paid for, January bills are good to go. Like, this is great. There was a COVID scare at the kids' school, and so they were out 1 week prior to their Christmas break when they're already out for 2 weeks. Right. So I was just like, well, dang, like we're good. Like, I'm just going to stay here with them for 3 straight weeks and not work at all, because everything financially is taken care of right now. Right. And then so when January rolls around, it's like, there's chargebacks and people canceling. They had to buy Christmas presents and, stuff like that. And it's a totally a real situation you get put in.
Right.
And so for me, it was like, I would maybe sell something and then like 2 would cancel. So I constantly felt like this just grind to get back to profit.
It was like maybe you felt like you take one step forward, two steps back. Kind
Oh,
of thing.
100%. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I think it's important to talk about like what that can do to like your mental health. Like when I was at convention, man, I was dealing with some serious depression.
Were you?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't hang out too much.
No. And I just would go to convention. I would isolate myself afterwards. Mm-hmm. And man, those are probably the two hardest. January and February are probably the two hardest months I think I've ever had.
Right.
So. Yeah. Well, I saw someone about it because I was literally like at rock bottom. Yeah. Like I was not well. And so I knew, like I said, something needed to change. And so I said, hey, March is going to either be it or I'm out. That was it. Right. But I chose to try telesales.
Right. Because
it all changed.
You already went through that struggle during that time. You decided to come to national convention, which is in Miami. Mm-hmm. You decided to come anyway.
Yeah.
Like, why did you decide to go to Miami?
It was important. I think it's important to, put yourself around people that are doing what you're doing. And for me, when I say in the field, even though I'm still in the field, just, virtually, I guess now, but like, it's important because you really can feel very alone a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Especially like with me being in North Carolina, not able to come to an office like this. And when you're out there struggling, you can hear from your team that, hey, keep pushing, you're doing a great job. You can hear that stuff. But like when you're not like maybe with other people doing it, you just really start to, and when you're struggling, you're really questioning like, dang, like, is this really going to work for me? Because I feel very alone in this and I'm not doing well.
Right.
And, that's what I was fighting for sure. So being at convention, I was able to see the people having success, but more importantly, just to see, just all the people that were there that wake up and do the same thing that I do every day.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I knew that they existed, but just seeing other people, it made you feel, or for me at the time, way less alone, if that makes sense.
Well, it makes you feel less alone, right?
Sure.
Because you're going through struggles. Like when you feel lonely on top of that, that makes it seem like the weight of the world is on your shoulders.
100%. Right? Yeah.
Right. And your mic's not connected right now, but the thing is, as far as Jared, and we always thought he was doing great. Mm-hmm. We would see his numbers. We didn't know about the chargeback situation because we didn't talk about it on that level. Mm-hmm. But as you go through, like you never recognize this is what we need to do, or this is what we need to focus on. Mm-hmm. Which is why communication is such an important thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess I understand because there's a lot of agents that you assume are doing well or just assuming poorly based off of just strictly numbers. But if they don't communicate on a regular basis, you don't know what they're genuinely feeling.
For sure.
So,
and I've never dealt with anything like that before. Like mental health to me, I don't know. Like for me, I've never personally dealt with it. So like it was really challenging. But like ever since then, and overcoming that, and I see so many things all the time, like inspirational quotes, or you'll hear a speaker or listen to a podcast, and they always talk about like, when you hit your bottom is really like when you start.
Absolutely.
You can either stay there or you can change and go up. Yeah. And so for me, like, I think those 2 months looking back were just so critical because now it's shaped like what I'm doing now. And what I'm doing now is awesome. Like I'm 100% there with my kids all the time. Yeah. I can work wherever I want to, I can turn them on, turn them off, which is huge.
Right. Yeah. Which is why for any of you guys out there, if you guys are ever in a mental state, like if you're feeling great, you're feeling a little like, don't assume other people know, right? Because like we would never know. Jared's always had a positive disposition. Anytime we've talked to him, we had no idea. And like when he came out here for this conference, we got a chance to like hang out. We spent a little bit more time. We got a chance to talk a little bit more in depth about certain things, and like you start to recognize, all right, maybe not everyone feels how they represent themselves in certain situations. So the thing is, you get yourself surrounded with a team of people that you can trust. Get yourself around people, like managers that that care, and just continue putting the work. And like let's figure out a way to continue to communicate with that.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Also, the thing is, if you feel a certain way, it doesn't necessarily mean that whatever you are currently feeling at that moment is necessarily justified either. If you're in isolation, because sometimes those situations like it starts to mount up and builds up in a different way. So you need to get a little bit of perspective. Just bounce those ideas off of people. If they're like, okay, now I recognize what Jared's going through, then you start to give them a little bit of feedback. You let them know what other people are experiencing. But certain situations are like, yeah, maybe you're a little bit off in the way that you feel about this situation, which is in this case. But it's important to have communication with your team, whatever that may be. So I'm glad that you.
It's important
stuck
to bring
around.
that up. Yeah,
I'm glad that you stuck around. You fought your way through it. You went to convention. You committed to going to convention because a lot of people in those situations probably just would have been, I don't see the point in doing this. Like, like obviously this doesn't work, but they haven't talked to anybody. They haven't seen how other people work, and they give up too soon. So the thing is, most people in this business, it's not that anyone ever really fails. It's just that they give up too soon.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you're on the borderline of doing that.
100%.
Yeah. And I'm glad you didn't, because obviously look at your situation now.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
A little bit better. Yeah. Okay.
So you've had a ton of success on the live transfers, telesales, virtual sales, that whole platform that they developed. Were you ever doing face-to-face sales to begin with?
I was. Okay. So I was buying a lot of just internet leads. And then I found mortgage protection, and I like that because they have bank accounts and houses, right? So it was just a different clientele, I guess, than just like a random internet lead. Yeah. Not saying internet leads by any means are not going to work, because 100% of the time they work. But I'm just saying, like, I liked mortgage. So I would dive into that. It seemed to be higher AP. You're dealing with people, in their homes, and it was just a better experience for me. So it's like, I think this whole entire time I've been trying to figure out, like, what is it that's working for me? And the best advice I think I can give right now, if someone's like really like thinking that all these leads suck, they don't work or whatever, this and that, like switch it up. Right. Buy mortgage. And if it's slim, then buy some aged final expense. Yep. At the end of the day, like, they're just people. They all want the same thing. They were all interested at one point in something, and they all have a problem. And we'll go into problem solving here in a little bit, but like, that's what's important, like aged. And that's my thing with mortgage. I wasn't doing mail drops and stuff like that. I didn't have those hot premium leads. Shoot, I'd buy 70 or 80 3-month leads, not even spend that much money on the lead cost. But that's where I had my success is with those aged mortgage leads.
Well, let me ask you, did you have expectations going in terms of how the leads should work?
Like when I first started?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Like, yeah, well, they filled this out, and all I have to do is call them, like the video said, right? And they're going to buy from me.
Where did those expectations come from?
The making it look very easy on social media, if that makes sense. And it's important to know that it's not. It's simple, but it's not easy.
Right.
You still have to, better yourself on, how you sell and stuff like that. I mean, just because they filled something out doesn't mean they're going to buy, which we all know that by now. But
which is also important to note. I mean, for anybody that's out there on social media watching stuff, number one, it's social media.
Yeah. So, everyone looks good on social media, right?
Well, I mean, so the things I feel like there's people, however they want to frame it, however you want to view it, however you want to perceive it. I mean, just understand, like, until you experience it yourself, who knows what that really is. Because the thing is, some difficult and hard, easy, all that stuff. I mean, it's all perception, right? True. So you could ask somebody that's doing the exact same thing as you. You could talk to two different people. One person tell you it's really easy, one person can tell you it's really hard, and they're still doing the same job. So like, who you listen to and like what perception that you choose to receive, that impacts how you perceive the opportunity. Right. So that's one thing for everybody to, like, as you guys are going through your careers and building everything out. I mean, just put that in perspective. Just try to understand that part. But you've been doing this for a while now.
Yes, you've
been putting in the work,
8, I believe. Yeah.
We see you putting in the work, because obviously you're in the live dials, and we call you Silky Smooth for a reason. So as you're going through on the live transfers, you do primarily live transfers.
Yeah. So like when I, said that I wanted to transition to doing it, just over the phone, like, I actually didn't start with live transfers. I looked at generating my own leads there for a little while.
How'd that go?
Via Facebook. It was good. It was okay. I ran like a high blood pressure ad in Michigan. If you're taking these certain medications, you may qualify for a state regulated life insurance. Did it generate a lot of leads? Yeah. It was actually pretty decent. Yeah. So they would come in, I could wake up every day and have a shot. There was already maybe 3 or 4 people that had like pre-booked on my calendar, right? But once again, just because they pre-book on the calendar, it's not a sale either. You know, half the time they don't pick up.
How long did you do that for?
All of March and half of April.
Okay.
But that's like when I was able to sharpen my skills.
Got it.
I think it's important, you know, to do that and get some reps first before you're investing in the higher cost of a live transfer.
Was that part of your plan to do that first to prepare you for live transfer?
I was intimidated as heck by live transfers because of the cost. And I was just like, man, like I get the concept. And to me, the better I got on the phone, it was more of, hey, like I think I should do this. So I looked into the vendors that I use now and I just went for it.
So for the lay people out there that have never dealt with live transfer, can you explain to a lay person what a live transfer means?
Yeah, so a live transfer is someone who, once again, has filled something out online, and there's maybe a call center that then reaches out to them, or either they call in if it was, so it just depends on the vendor. And then they go through just to verify the information, make sure it's all correct. And then they ask if they would like to speak with a licensed agent for a quote. And if they say yes, then someone like me or someone else gets a call from the vendor and they say, hi, I have, you know, John Smith on the phone, ready for a live transfer, looking for a quote. Let me know when you're ready. And that's kind of how it works. And you're transferred the call.
Okay. So every time they call you, you get charged. Is that how it works?
Yes. Even if you don't pick up.
Even if you don't pick up. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah. So you have to be very, you know, careful.
So you can change the parameters when you're receiving calls.
Oh, for sure. You can turn it on. You can turn it off. Okay. You can pause it. So whenever I pause mine, because I'm so like nervous about getting a call, if I was like not like on the clock working, I pause mine like 3 weeks out just because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get a call, you know, because I'm pausing because I don't want to like pause it till tomorrow. Cause like, what if like we're late for school, dropping the kids off, then I get a call in the car and I can't help them. Yeah. Right. So that's a little piece of advice.
So isn't that a lot of the amount of time that you're willing to commit to your business? Like that's what's holding you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you move past that point now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're pretty much all in from what I can tell.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think I've finally found what's working for me right now, and I'm just going to keep rolling with it, you know, and maybe things don't work out down the road and I have to change it up again. But I do know that like what I'm doing is providing just so much comfort to our family. You know, I'm like, there's so many other people out there that are, you know, killing it far more than I am. Like I feel very underqualified to even be in Los Angeles sitting in this nice black chair. Right. But like the thing is like, I'm putting in the work, and that's what's important with this industry is like, just cause, you know, you see other people doing, you know, X amount of numbers per month, like don't hold yourself to that. Yep. Do your best.
Yep.
Right. Cause comparison is always going to be the thief of joy.
Absolutely.
We all know that.
Yep. So let's talk about some technical stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So you can change the parameters of what type of live transfers that you receive.
Yes.
You've been very open about the type of parameters that you're willing to take, like substandards and all kinds of different.
Yeah, that's like the
things.
only calls I get.
So that impacts the price.
It does. Yes. Okay. So I go with the lowest cost for the call.
Okay.
So with live transfers, it's on a bidding system, and I'm still not 100% sure of like how it actually works, but you set your maximum amount that you would pay per category. You have like a premium category, you have a standard category, and I think there's one more, final expense, and then there's substandard. And the only reason it's called substandard is just because they have medical conditions, or they're either like in their 80s, right? Okay. And for me, you know, it's like, well, why would I not take substandard calls? A lot of people don't want to take them because they have issues, but like for me, like that's kind of like what we do. Like we deal with health underwriting all the time.
Right.
And, you know, I don't really, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 houses I've ever gone into, like they've just been perfectly clean with their health. Like right. It's very rare. Like typically the reason they're looking for insurance in the first place and they're not just taking care of it already, right. It's because they have stuff going on. So for me, I was never intimidated that, oh gosh, you have diabetes and high blood pressure, no big deal. You know, what are you taking? Stuff like that. Right. So I take those on. They're lower cost, and they've turned out to be okay for me.
No, you've had some massive premiums on some of the calls that we've seen.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's what a lot of people they're just thinking. Like, I want the smoothest, easiest process. I want someone that's totally healthy, that's looking to buy. like you're trying, and a lot of people are looking for just the layups. They're looking for the easiest, lowest hanging fruit, which if it's there, take it. Like there's no question. There's no like, no
Oh
problem
yeah,
with
if
that.
you've got a guy who's just taking like a high blood pressure medication, that's it. Then
And he
great.
says, I want to buy that. Like take it. But I mean, the real skill, and this is why we give you credits, because you take the substandard and you develop your own skill set. You're able to like help people that a lot of people either can't or aren't willing to
do.
help.
Yeah, exactly.
Which has led to huge premiums for you.
That's it.
Yeah.
I always, like, in my mind, I think like the healthier you are, the more shopping you're going to do.
Right.
Because you can.
Yeah.
Because you're not dealing with any health issues. So for me, I've just kind of always had that approach.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be squeaky clean to, I don't know. Right. For me, bring it on. You got this, you got that. We've got a product.
Yeah. It's like that one quote is like, don't wish it was easier. Just wish you were better.
True.
Wish you had more skill or whatever.
True.
Whatever that quote
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is, there's anyone can help those people that have the easiest route.
Sure.
The easy path. But the thing is, if you can develop your skill set, you have the patience for it, you develop the experience for it, you develop the skill set, then you can help plenty of other people that other people can help, which allows you to the bigger paydays and allows you to continue to help more and more people develop. That's the way you should.
And at a lower cost.
Yeah, and a lower
cost. It makes sense to me.
Bigger profit margin.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, what are some of the bigger objections that you receive?
I think we all deal with, I want to think about, I want to think about this, or that's too expensive. I'm on a fixed income, right? I think that once you learn to master those, and by all means, and I'm not a master by any means, because I get that all the time. But I think that, what I've been learning recently, because I've been investing more in bettering my skills to be a better salesperson and overcome the objections before they even happen. And I think that's like you really need to do that. I think that's so valuable to invest in yourself and get better at what you do, because I understand, like, we hear it all the time. It's a numbers game, and it is, but also, like, can't you just work on sharpening your skills to where you don't have to take 10 to sell 4?
Right.
Why can't you take 5 and sell 4?
Right.
Why don't you just get better at your questioning?
Right.
Get better at, selling. And then that's what I've been working on. So like this month, like I've taken way less calls.
Yep.
But I've had more success.
Right.
Because I think I'm asking the right questions.
You've also recently invested into a sales
training. Yep. Yeah.
How much did you pay for that?
So it's $3,000, and that was the lowest tier.
Okay.
Now, when they quoted me, the thing is, like, they're questioning it works so good because I was so hooked. Like, whenever I was on the phone with the guy trying to get me to sign up, like, he had me so ready to, like, here's my card.
Right.
And like, that's what we want to do with insurance.
Right.
Because we don't want to get to banking and they're like, I'll call my bank and I'll call you back. You want them to be like, I need this now. So like, how can I go ahead and pay for this and get this in place? Right. And so that's what this company does. I'm not sure if I can name drop, but
let's not.
Yeah, that's fine.
Until we become a sponsor.
Yeah. No free shout outs. Right. No. And so, no, that's what it's all about. And so, but when he pitched me the first one, and I was just, I was like, so, how much does it cost? Because we didn't even go over any of that until the end. Right. But he got me so hooked before that, not that I didn't care how much it cost, but I knew it was just totally worth it. Right. But he gave me the cost, and it was like astronomical, because he showed me the highest one. I was just like, I want to think about it. And he's like, I'm with so-and-so's team. You think I'm just going to let you walk away with, you want to think about it? Because like, that's what we coach, is how to not get, I want to think about it. But I was like, I want to think about it. But I was serious. And so then I learned that there was different tiers. So I went with the first tier, and it's a virtual training platform, and it's been awesome. And so it's just now a matter of implementing it.
You put in that time, so you see a tangible difference in your business.
And if one day I can get to that point, to get to that first one that he pitched me, 100%, I'm going to put my money in that, because I know that my skills would just become so much better, so it's important to invest in yourself. Like when you get paid, like spend it on leads, don't go buy another car. Don't go do this, like enjoy your life. But like, if you want to do better and make more, that starts with you. Yeah. So like, buy more leads, invest in training, like, invest in yourself.
What if they pitched you that program back to the struggling Jared in January, February, what would you have said?
I would have been like, oh my gosh, yes, I need this so badly. But I
You would
couldn't
have?
afford it. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Because I feel
The thing
like a
is,
lot of
I've been
people cheap
watching it
out.
though. I've been watching it since
Okay.
like October, November.
Yeah.
I've followed it on Instagram and TikTok. So like I see it all the time. And like I learn those little nuggets from the little videos that are posted. But I'm just like, I know that there's a lot more there.
It's interesting. I mean, I feel like maybe this is the reason why you've ascended in your business. You've actually fought through it, because a lot of times people take that victim mentality, and during those times when like people are like, "Hey, you need to do this," they're like, "I'm just trying to get by, man. Like I'm just trying to like, you know, I people need to help me." When in reality, it's like no one's coming to help you. No one's coming to help you. Like
it's up to you.
need to like figure out a way.
Yeah. So we can kind of go into, you know, what those questions look like, and if you want to kind of go through. And once again, this is still kind of like brand new, so I've got, you know, my script. I think it's important. Hey, don't ever read off of a script, but like use it for reference for sure.
So what's the key thing for a new agent to like know about a script?
Yeah, so like whenever you're like, hello, my name is Jared and I'm with Family First Life. I am a licensed underwriter, and like,
don't sound robotic.
Don't do that
way.
No. Hey, my name is Jared, licensed underwriter in North Carolina. Just make it conversational, you know, like a script. But I was so guilty of that. I would see other people having all this success, and I literally, dude, I'm guilty of watching a YouTube video and pausing it every 8 seconds so I can type out exactly what he said, then pressing play again, and then typing it out again, because it works for him and he sells so much premium. So I'm like, that was it. That's what I'm supposed to say. Right. And then I'm sitting there just like, well, you know, when you're in a conversation with someone, you can't literally rely on a script, because like the conversation that he was having with that person when I was watching his video is not the conversation that I'm on. So you can take parts of different people's scripts and, you know, make it your own, but make it like bullet points. Don't make it, you know, these paragraphs. And I literally had 4. I mean, I would love to show you, because it's absolutely, it's his entire conversation. I just typed it out. I was like, well, that's it. That's what he's doing. That's what he's saying. Those are the word tracks. That's the secret. But it's not. It's not. Because you get the call and you're more worried about reading a script than you are trying to help them.
Yeah. So somebody just calls you on a live transfer. So you get a live transfer that connects you through. What do you say?
Yeah. So I start by saying, hey, my name's Jared. I'm a licensed underwriter for the state of North Carolina. I'm actually sending you a copy of my insurance license as we speak to your email. I've got whatever at gmail.com. Is that correct? And they're like, yeah, that's right. 90% of the time, they don't walk into the next room to fire up their computer and look at my thing. But it's there and it's in their inbox. And I'm building credibility, right? Yeah. So what I've learned is important is to ask, first off, a connecting question. Okay? And that might look like, so Albert, have you found what you're looking for, or are you still looking? And of course they're still looking, because they just filled out a form and they just went through a conversation for 8 minutes with all web leads, right? Or whoever your vendor is. Yeah. And they wanted to be transferred. So of course they're still looking, right? But you're saying that you're initiating the fact that there's something that they want and I have it. Okay. And then they would say, yeah, I'm still looking. And they might just say, oh, I want this. And how much is that? Right. So immediately I would say, you know, that's not a problem. We can definitely go over that, but I think it would be appropriate maybe if I asked you a few questions in the first place, just to figure out if I can even help you at all. Because like a lot of people, you know, they have their guard up when they're on the phone, you know, maybe because they've done this a bunch of times, right? So when you kind of like relieve that sales pressure of like, hey, I might not even be able to help you. Is it fine if I ask you some questions? It kind of brings them back down like, yeah, that's fine. We'll see if you can help me kind of thing. And then the first thing you would go into is situation awareness. Figure out where they're at. Okay. So I would just say, you know, what type of life insurance policy do you have now? Sometimes they say I have this. Sometimes they say I don't have anything at all. Okay. Let's pretend like they have coverage. Okay. They're like, oh, well, I've got this through this company. I'm like, okay, great. So like, I guess what led you to that company in the first place? Like get them to open up, get them to talk about, because a lot of the times they'll say they have something and they don't. Yeah. So if you kind of like innocently question them, how long have you had that coverage for? Like, why did you choose that type of policy? Is there a reason you went with that company? Constantly question them, right? And kind of make them tell why they have it. Because it's also important to know, like, hey, what do they like, right? So that's another question. I say, so what do you like about your policy? Intentional pausing too. You hear I'm like pausing and stuff like that.
Right.
Like leave them, kind of hanging. Don't just, what do you like about your life insurance policy, John? So what do you like about your policy? Right. Questions like that, right? And they're like, oh, I don't know, it's just going to be there. And I would just say, hey, well, it sounds like things are going fairly well for you. Is there something you would change about the amount of coverage if you could? And that's when they'll say, well, I would like to add whatever, $10,000 more for my policy. And I would say, well, why is this important to you now? Let them talk. They're not used to hearing those questions. They're used to hearing, well, it's going to be this amount of much, this amount per month, right? Is that something you want? And so just constantly questioning them. Okay. So figuring out their problem. Okay. And then go into, solution awareness is what it's called. So, if someone, let's say that they haven't purchased life insurance and they're like 83. So Albert, what's prevented you from making sure that you have this protection in place? You're 83 years old. Like, why is it taking you this long to just not be doing this? Right. Figure out if it's too expensive. They've looked in the past. They've let their policy lapse. Figure out their situation and just constantly question them, and then you would go into, showing them like the consequence. Like, so Albert, have you considered, like, what if you just continue to put this off? Like, what's going to change for you?
So you're allowing them to lead themselves to the decision.
They're telling themselves that they're going to go ahead and get insurance now.
Yeah. Goes back to the whole saying of everybody wants to buy, no one wants to be sold.
Exactly. So before you're throwing out prices and I've got this and we've got 50 carriers and you're a sales guy.
Right.
But now I'm just a problem solver.
Right.
They're telling themselves why they need insurance.
Right.
Why haven't, like, what happens if you don't do this? What happens if you keep thinking about this? What are you going to do?
Right.
And so when it comes time to choosing a number, like, sometimes I won't even give them 3 options. Okay. Because if you've done these questions and you've done them well, and you've done them you've asked the right questions at the right time, when it comes down to it, why would I show them it? Let's say that they wanted 20,000. Why would I show them 15 and 10? Because when it comes down to the price, that's what they said that they want, and so this is how much it costs.
Right.
Is this something that would work for you?
Right.
Is this, or let's say I present 3 options. Which would be the most appropriate one to leave behind to, your sister or whatever,
right.
And so that's just how I approach it,
Do you ever get the objection that after you go through the whole process, they've walked themselves into it, they recognize they need it, they get to the point where they're like, I don't want to give out my social security or my
So I've never, I think I've maybe only gotten the, I don't want to give you my social security number like 3 times. Maybe. But like for me, once again, the whole point of these questions is to get them so ready
right.
to go ahead and take care of this that you don't get objections. That's the whole point of it. Right. And so, but let's just say, someone did do a social, right? And once again, it's rarely happened to me, but I think because I'm asking the right questions and maybe I'm just feeling trustworthy to them, right? But if they did, I would just say, hey, that's really not a problem. I'll tell you what, I've already sent you my state insurance license. I'm actually going to send you a copy of my driver's license and a family picture, just so you know I'm a real guy. I'm a dad of 3. Do you have kids? Just kind of like start tying it in like that. Cool, I just sent that over. Go ahead and check your email. What color's my shirt? Stuff like that. Make sure they look at it, right? Make sure they see that you're a real person, and they would give you the information. Now, banking is a challenge. So, like I said, I'm just now implementing more of these questions and stuff. So, but I've seen a drastic difference of not having to take, 30 calls a week, maybe taking like 10, selling 7 or 8, right? So that's what's working for me right now. Yeah. So it's just sharpening those skills.
Your skill level is going up. So obviously the objections and everything's going down a little bit.
Yeah.
What other key points would you share with people out there that are looking to maybe do life transfers?
Invest in yourself because they are higher cost. Invest in states. That's huge. I'm licensed in 20 states. I would love to make it like 30. but like, it's important. Like I said before, like whenever you do get paid, I had a big policy one time, and that went into like my savings account and I kept it there. But I was like, wait a minute, well, I'm going to use a little bit to do some more transfers, but hey, I'm going to go out and buy 15 more states. And I just went out and bought 15 more because I knew that like my volume would go up and my chances of winning would go up.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's just important, just continue to invest in yourself.
Right.
For sure.
And as we leave all these people, because they're watching Silky Smooth Jared Payne, go through his whole process. Everyone's like, I want to get on live transfers.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your argument for why they should look into other lead types and why they should, just keep an open mind, diversify, just not focus on just strictly one lead source?
Well, it's important just to get reps, get better at what you're doing, like practice, maybe I'm a bad example of this though, because like I have one writing agent and guess what he's doing? And he's brand new. He's doing live transfers. Right. Yeah. But he believes in himself and he believed that what I was doing was real. Yeah. And so he went out and now I think he's licensed in 25 states or something, or maybe it's 20. I'm not sure, but like he just went for it. Yeah. And like, that's what you just have to do sometimes. It's just like, hey, I want to do this. So I'm going to get sharp with this so I can, and just go for it. Like the only thing holding you back from moving to a next level is you and your fear. Yeah. Like I'm so guilty of that because like, man, anxiety is so real and, fear is so real. And so like when you maybe take till 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon to start your dials, or if you do something like that, or like you don't want to turn your transfers on because you're nervous, like, dude, like you just lost money because like you could have been taking them. Right. Like what if that person that you did take, even though you're super nervous, was just right there ready to go. Right. And then it changes your whole entire situation. Right. Like, dude, that's what happens in this industry. Yep. Your life can change in a call. And like, that is the honest to God truth. Right. You just never know. You got somebody that's 89, never had insurance. No, they don't really have a shot at anything else. They've been told no. They've been told all this kind of stuff. You're too old. Stops at 85. Bro, we got Aetna. They'll run till 89.
A ton of options.
Yeah. So it's just like, those are big premiums.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep. So obviously we wanted to share with you how to work live transfers from one of the best, someone that's out there doing it and having success. And if you guys want to learn directly from him, you can hop on joinelitedials.com. You can reach out to one of us for the passcode. Mm-hmm. You can reach out. What's your Instagram handle?
I think it's Jared Payne.
At Jared Payne.
Or maybe Jared Payne 91 or Jared E. Payne, something like that. I'm not sure.
We'll post it.
Yeah, we'll post it somewhere.
We'll post it on there.
Yeah.
But I mean, by no means are we saying this is the only way to go. The thing is, we want to give you a little bit of a broader range and understand how to diversify your lead flow. Mm-hmm. This happens to be working for Jared. If you want to learn from him directly, I mean, you can hop on. But the thing is, all leads work. The bottom line is you have to talk to as many people as you can. Everybody needs what we have. So just keep doing what you guys are doing. I appreciate you coming on and sharing all the information. Yeah. We'll have you back in LA soon.
Absolutely, man.
All right. So
week 9, baby.
That's right. Week 9. He's a big Carolina Panthers fan. Yeah. Too bad they're going to lose that week. Yeah, but anyway, we'll appreciate you guys hopping on. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Let's go out there and be elite, guys.